Live in downtown Detroit, Local 4 live stream with Jason Carr starts now.
Wow. I guess we're going. You truly caught me by surprise. I got all wrapped up in this newsroom conversation about how many Eckies? Dos Eckies.
Oh, it is Eckies. So
Two X's. Dos Eckies. We'll get to that in mere moments. We will get to the whole who's going to be the most interesting man in the world now. I heard a shout from Rhonda Walker from her corner of the room, her office, something about it looking like Michael Phelps, but a little bit older and bearded, but still younger than Goldsmith, the guy that's, well, we'll get there in a second. But first, welcome to this infotainment spectacular that we call the Jason Carr Experiment, possibly also the 915-ish, and it is coming to you in solid state stereo.
50 watts per channel, baby kicks.
Highland Appliance does not sell better programming than what you can find right here on the Local 4 Click on Detroit WDIV Facebook page, and also live streaming on clickondetroit.com. Good morning. What's going on, John?
Good morning, Jason. Today is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. So how cool is that?
September 8th, 1966, to mixed reviews, and some of the reviews that followed were downright tepid, hence only 3 seasons on NBC. But yeah, Star Trek began its run, and we all know it's become the pop culture institution of science fiction, one of them of the last half century. Twitter is celebrating with the hashtag Star Trek 50, weighing in with all of your favorite Captain Kirk utterances and red shirt misadventures. You know, the red shirt guys, they never survived to pass the first commercial break, right? They were always the first to go.
They were part of the engineering and security forces on the ship.
If you were cast as a red shirt, you knew you pretty much weren't going to be in but about 10% of the episode that week, and that's one of the oldest jokes in the book. Actually, they sell red shirts, don't they?
They're selling them. We found them. They're going for $34. I'm sorry. So we were talking about those shoes last week, where there was what, $600. I think I've got the picture still.
Yeah.
The tattered shoes. But these,
yeah, but
these have a
I don't think
different
this is
aspect
quite the same thing. This
No.
is an homage to the fact that if there was an alien presence that was malevolent, the red shirt was the one that got shot, and somehow Kirk and Spock and Bones, they all survived from week to week to week. So I just downloaded this app, see if it works. A mere 99 cents for this on the iTunes store, by the way.
Logical. Flawlessly logical.
All right, how do you shut this thing off? Hold on. You're probably too young to remember John Belushi doing a flawless Shatner as James T. Kirk on SNL.
I don't remember that bit.
You have to look it up. They were worried all week in rehearsal. They didn't think that Belushi was going to be able to pull it off, and darn if they didn't go live on Saturday night at 11:30, and he nailed it. Great Shatner, probably one of the earliest Shatners of many to come. What's next on the docket?
We've got the iPhone 7. That just,
What's going on back here? Hold on just a second.
Today's show just showed a side-by-side of Michael Phelps and the Dos Equis guy.
There you have it. Today's show on TV on Local 4 right now just put the new Dos Equis guy side by side with Michael Phelps and did a comparison. So Rhonda Walker, you were ahead of it by 5 minutes. All right. What's next? What do you have?
iPhone 7. Specs were just released yesterday.
Yeah.
So they did kill the 3.5 millimeter jack. That's gone. So we're going to have wireless headphones with this.
By the way, this is the realization of Kirk's communicator from Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically where we're at.
It was
all
sci-fi
it took
back
was
then, but it's
40
reality
years.
now.
When was the first iPhone? Like 2007, 8?
2006 or 7.
6? I don't know, that would be like 40 years after Kirk was flipping it open and doing his thing, yeah. For sure.
So because it's losing that 3.5 millimeter jack, it's water resistant. There's dual cameras in the front, so you can take 3D pictures. That's only on the on the iPhone 7 Plus. But the real talker is that they're getting rid of that headphone jack. It's going to force a lot of people to buy Bluetooth headphones. It's going to force Bluetooth headphone makers to create better technology for it. There's still going to be a toggle on the bottom for a port to plug wired headphones into, but otherwise it looks like they've killed it off.
Is that you, Captain? Are you all right?
The whole thing is, the future is predicated on wireless anyway, right?
Wireless charging, wireless systems.
Right, think about I was about to say the Apple Watch, but I mean, it's a power wire that connects to that base, but you're not, anyway. So Apple, mixed reviews, reactions on that. The stock on Wall Street just kind of waffling on that news from yesterday. Next, we have the mutant vehicles of Burning Man. And if you're of a certain age, you're probably asking right now, what is Burning Man? Well, it started years ago in the desert. People getting together and having sort of a Woodstock, if you will, out in the dry heat. And it's just grown bigger and bigger and bigger every year, bringing in all sorts of, I was about to say fringe, but also mainstream members of society looking to get away from it all, get away from the rat race for the weekend and become the fringe, dress up in crazy costumes, look at people with like odd piercings and tattoos and body modifications and hallucinogenic drugs. And what else am I forgetting about Burning Man? Oh yeah, at the end of the whole thing, they light a big giant stick man on fire and burn it down, and thus ends the festival. So yeah, cars like this show up. I should say cars like that right there. It looks like something out of a Pixar movie. Finding Dory. That would be sort of Mad Max.
They all
Fury
have a
Road.
Mad Max feel to it.
Yeah, Fury Road. There's that whole steampunk thing that's a variant of. Now that is very Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
But yeah, the steampunk aesthetic, like old timey stuff married to modern technology with the appearance of being steam powered and that sort of thing. So Burning Man. Obviously bringing out people's creativity, drug fueled or not. These are some of the vehicles you could see at that festival. Speaking of driving, how about that for a segue?
How about that?
Toonces the driving cat is in trouble. Toonces, watch out! What do you have on this, John?
Oh, a new survey from AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety says that American drivers spend an average of more than 290 hours behind the wheel, which is a lot of time.
Yes.
See, also, they say that 87.5% of Americans age 16 and older drive, so that leaves only 12.5% of this country's population that doesn't get behind the wheel every year. And Americans drove a total of 2.45 trillion miles last year. Now, men report driving 2,000 miles more than women per year. And more than 86% of households have at least one car for every driver in the home, and 28% report having more cars than drivers. So they've got to have a lot of cars just sitting in the driveway.
We have more cars than drivers in our household. It's only because I can't bear to part with. Once you've acquired the car and paid it off, you're never going to get the value out of it.
So you got to store it.
You got to store it, you got to keep it, you got to drive it. Keep all the miles low on all the different vehicles, all with 100,000 miles, I might add. Some starting to show a little bit of wear and tear with the rust. So as much as I would love to stay and look at pictures of Toonce's cousins driving cars, what do you have next, John?
Well, next.
Oh, no. That's right. Stay thirsty, my friends. Earlier this year, I jokingly, mockingly, ironically mounted a tongue-in-cheek campaign to become the new world's most interesting man. I believe we have photographic evidence of this. This was but one of the pictures that I took and put on social media with, like the hashtag, "Hey, Dos Equis, don't forget about me," kind of thing. Well, they never contacted me. I never heard from them, John. What do you think of the photo, by the way?
I love it. It's great.
If that isn't damning with faint praise, I don't know what is. I'm going to stand up here, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but that's the Michael Phelps. I know it's a little bit out of focus, but that's the Michael Phelps and the new guy. Their screen left, the new guy, whose name is...
Augustin Legrand, a French actor.
Of course, it's Augustin Legrand. And then Michael Phelps. So yeah, people are already drawing that comparison. I could have done it. I could have pulled it off.
Pretty good. Now the new guy, here's a couple of pictures from this new commercial. Here he is, I think in a cave. And this, he was fishing a soccer ball out of a well. And I'm not sure what he's running from, but he's got a pig in his hands. So it's exciting to see that this campaign is continuing, and they're not just going to move on to the next Dos Equis commercials.
Do you buy him? I mean, do you think does he work for the role? Do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good transition.
All right. Speaking of transitions, oh, I hate speaking of. Why did I just say speaking of? Let's just transition into football, because we're going from a beer campaign into one of the reasons beer campaigns exist, and that's American football. Thursday night football, NBC, on NBC. It's definitely one of the crown jewels on this network, and we're proud to bring you the Thursday night kickoff this evening. John?
Tonight at 8:30 is kickoff.
You didn't exactly say that with any sort of oomph or conviction there. So kickoff, yeah, 8:30. Cam Newton powering the Carolina Panthers, the Broncos. You know, Denver is usually one of my fantasy defenses. This year I elected to go with Seattle with my first pick for fantasy football for the defense. So Tigers also, not on the docket, but I should add that they have a weekend series upcoming, the most important series of the season, upcoming against the Orioles. That is because after yesterday's loss to Chicago, they are a game back of the Orioles for the first or the second playoff position as a wild card. So they have to take on Baltimore and hopefully sweep the O's over the weekend and put themselves into position for the final 2 weeks of September, and maybe bringing us some October baseball that will conclude with the World Series ending in November. So, any new tweets from the Twitterverse about the Star Trek 50 thing, the hashtag Star Trek 50?
I don't see anything at the moment.
Really? That surprises me.
Let's take a look at Facebook, because that's where most of the
Oh,
people...
Facebook? Oh, well. You can comment, obviously. And by the way, we have Live in the D coming up at the top of the hour. Let's see here, about 33 minutes from now. Myself, Chuck, and Tati live, in effect, on Local 4. And, yeah, things are going well. We're having fun. Guests, segments, talkers aplenty.
And we're adding
more music than ever before. Kind of like the all-new and improved Live in the D. And we're looking forward to bringing that to you on the TV, whether on broadcast via rabbit ears or satellite or cable. John, how do you get TV at home?
You know, my television just started working the other day.
What do you mean just started working?
Well, I told you there was a problem. I had a couple of bars that were missing in the middle, and the picture was all messed up. And I haven't turned it on in 3 months. I turned it on the other day, and it started working. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Two to beam up, Scotty.
I believe we've reached the end of this landing party. The red shirts have been shot and dispatched. Again, if you want to acquire one of those shirts, John found them for you. What, $38 or something like that?
Something like that.
Do you have them? Do you have the graphic?
Oh yeah.
One more time, John, for the folks at home. If you're a Trekkie or a Trekker, where can somebody get one of these?
You know, I actually...
He's going to look. That was John going via transporter to Amazon.com or another online retailer to figure out where you can get these.
Stylin online.
Stylin?
Stylin.
Is that with an I-N but not the G?
Stylin.
Stylin online.
That's right.
All right. There you have it.
There you have it.
We will see you on the TV at 10 o'clock on Live in the D, and back here again tomorrow at the 9:15-ish mark. Signing off and beaming down, I'm Jason.
Stay classy, Detroit.